Hi there, welcome back, beautiful beings. How are you today? How are you feeling? So in this beautiful video, there was a post on Facebook that inspired this video, and it was about someone who was talking about they were awakened, and that we are here to be the light. And she was saying, how hard is it for people to see the truth, of who they are? Anyway, as I was reading that comment, there was so much coming up for me, because I'm thinking we're not all here to wake up. That is the reality. A lot of us are here still enjoying this gorgeous human experience, and we are just not here to wake up. That's it. We don't want to, realize the truth of who we are. We are here to live in separation fully, completely separate from spirit and from everything and everyone, And the other thing that came up straight away as I read that, I just imagined the sun. And the sun comes up every morning and it is so bright. That light is so bright that for so many of us, we can't look at it directly. It's that bright. And there are many beings here on earth that are that bright, that other beings just can't even look at them. And that is their purpose. That is the sun's purpose, to be that light fully, completely. But you don't see the sun yelling at the moon. Why can't you shine your own light? You're always reflecting mine. Shine your own light. Don't be afraid to be yourself. You don't see the sun saying that to the moon. The moon has its own purpose, has its own reason to be there. Everything has its purpose. And so even though we may not understand a person's path, a person's purpose, it doesn't give us the right to judge. That, because for me, that post it felt more like they're less than, these beings that won't wake up or that don't understand or that aren't enlightened or whatever else you want to call it, that they're not as good as those of us that are awakened. That's the way I read it. And I did put a comment on there, about, it's really about respecting other people's journey. It's not that it's hard or it's not hard. It's that we're not all here to wake up. We're not all here to live in alignment with spirit. Some of us came here to live in separation. That was the soul's choice. And it's having that acceptance, that detachment. And it takes practice, It takes a while before you actually start walking that path. If that is your path, because it's not for everyone, this detachment. Sometimes it's difficult because, as I was reading, why is it so hard? If it's your child, for example, and your child is doing drugs, and you can't help them out of that situation, no matter what you do, they just don't want to stop doing those drugs. Or you have a partner that's an alcoholic, and you can't stop them from drinking, and every night they get drunk. Then yes, these things kind of affect you. They affect your path to a certain extent, If you are attached to the outcomes, then it affects you. But if you understand that these beings, whether they're your children, whether they're your partner, whether they're your parents, I could be sad every day. I could be upset that my parents aren't talking to me. I could be of that mindset that what did I do wrong and that I'm still not enough and all of that. I could be talking myself through it every day of, what have I done that my parents aren't talking to me? Or I can accept the truth that this is their path. This is their path. And if at this point in their path, their choice is to be angry with me for whatever reason, and they don't want to talk to me, then I have to respect that path. I already went over there 2 years ago, and I already apologized for everything that they were bringing up, that I had done, that had hurt them. I apologized for all of it. But that wasn't enough. It wasn't enough for them. And then I have to remind myself sometimes, well, I spent 7 years not talking to them. I was so angry with them. I was living my beautiful human experience, being angry, allowing myself to feel that anger towards them. And now it's their time to do the same. If they are angry, if they feel that I have let them down somehow, they have a right to feel that way. They are not less, they are not more. It is just their journey. And in our soul contracts, this is what we agreed to do for each other at this point in our lives. That I would let them down, and that they would take offense, and that they would stop talking to me. I went there 2 years ago after my awakening. My heart was so full of love. I just had nothing but love. And it was the first time in my whole life that I was fully present. There was nothing here when I left home. My relationship with my daughter is incredible. My relationship with my husband, my mother-in-law, everything I'd left behind here in Australia, I was at peace with everything here. I didn't have to worry that, oh, this is happening with my husband, this is happening with my daughter. Like, I had no thoughts of what was going on here at home, except that I missed them. You know, once a day I would call my daughter and have a conversation and catch up with her day, how she's doing. Then catch up with my husband, how was his day, and how was he doing, how was he feeling. Many times throughout that trip, I called my mother-in-law and would have huge discussions about what I was going through with my mum. And that I couldn't understand that if I was apologizing from my heart and I was here with them now, present, fully present, without any other distractions, how could this not be working? What am I doing wrong? We were going back to that. What am I doing wrong? But what if everything I said was right? What if everything I said was exactly what they needed to hear? For their journey, for their path, for their human experience. What if what you say to others and what you do to others is never wrong, but it is exactly what that person needs for their journey? Whenever taught this, one day it just came to me in a download as I was writing one of the books. And previous to that, I'd been beating myself up about my parents, about things I could have said better or done better, or that I shouldn't have said this or I shouldn't have said that. Or I was, you know that one, right? Where you're going over a scenario. You shouldn't have said this. You shouldn't have done this. You shouldn't. You're beating yourself up over it. And it was in that moment, that morning, I was writing one of the books and I'd stopped and I was going through that little process in my head of what could I have done differently that they now would be, that we would be in a better position. Because in that moment, my parents and I were still talking to each other, but it was a strange relationship. It wasn't flowing. Like, you know the relationships that you're comfortable in, that there's no strain, there's just flow, there's just love. And then the relationships that are strained, that there's something going on. It's like there's an elephant in the room, but no one wants to address the elephant that's in the room. And so you just keep dancing around it, but you can feel that something is off energetically. So, that's where we were at. And I was having this conversation in my head. And then as I sat the next day to write down, to continue with the book, that download came through completely. That everything that I had said was serving their human experience. Everything they had said to me was serving my human experience. If it made me feel not good enough, it was serving my human experience. If it made me feel that I hadn't done enough, that I had done something wrong, it was serving my human experience. And so in every moment, the things that we say and that we do, with time, I was shown that it's always spirit working through you to allow that being to continue having their human experience, however that looks, whether we understand it or not, doesn't matter. But it is what they came to experience. And it is what you have come to experience. All you have to do is look at your life right now. What is showing up for you? What is in your reality right now? We started with this topic a few videos ago, and then we didn't quite develop that idea of what you're thinking of is what's creating what's in your life right now. And if your thoughts are constantly, I'm not good enough, then that's what keeps showing up in your reality. People that are making you feel not good enough, or that are telling you that you're not good enough somehow. You know, for me, that kept showing up a lot in the way of wages. You know, and we have quite a few friends with the same dynamics going on. And that's all it comes down to. One partner making the other partner feel they're not good enough because they're not earning as much as, you know, them. And this is what it always came down to. And so in my relationship with my husband, this is how he's always been serving me. He's always earned more than I do, you know, because for the most part, I do part-time jobs, where he's always had full-time jobs. But there's always this dynamic of he earns more than I do. And so occasionally, you know, there'll be this outburst that because you don't earn as much as I do, you're not doing enough. And the underlying, you know, what's trying to come through is that you're not good enough, you know. And so, you know, my mum introduced me to the concept of not good enough when I was little, because I was so different that I just wasn't good enough to be like them, you know. And so that not good enough already started there, you know, in my childhood. But then because it was part of my human experience, I hadn't understood it yet, you know, that it's not real, it's not true, right? It's just part of what I took on to have this human experience. And so then other beings will take that up. And so the next being was my husband, you know, that through our wages being different, I was never good enough. You know, he's always earning more. But in every house, and I've had this discussion with you before as well, in every house, unless you're both in the exact same profession, there will always be one that earns more than the other. Always. And you know, at the time when I looked at, you know, I really looked at it, our earnings, it's always been $100 or $200 a week difference. It's never been that massive that, you know, I'm only earning $200 a week or something. It's very little difference, but it's less than, you know. And so it's always something that you can point the finger, and it's just spirit working through him to remind me, remember, you feel that you are less than, you aren't good enough. Remember, this is the human experience you came to have. Are you done with it yet? And the moment I was done with it, guess what happened? It stopped appearing. We haven't had that conversation in years. That conversation of you're not earning as much as I'm earning, and, you know, you need to get a full-time job like my full-time job and go and work out there 8-10 hours a day like I do. We stopped having that conversation. The moment you realize the truth of why something is showing up in your life, it no longer needs to be there. It doesn't serve a purpose anymore. And even if someone is trying to make you feel that you aren't good enough or that you are less than, there's no charge around it. There's no energetic charge. You don't feel anything energetically because you know it's not true. There's nothing to it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, you can say that to me all day, but I don't believe it about myself. It's not there anymore. That belief has dissolved, you know. So, yes, your thoughts are constantly creating. So one way is to look at, okay, what is showing up for me constantly? Like, what's something that's a pattern that keeps repeating for you? Because you could be at a job right now that you absolutely hate. And if you look at why you hate it, okay, because I've got a boss that's manipulative and he's overbearing and he's always putting me down, he's always belittling me and all this stuff. And okay, I hate my job, I hate my boss, right? But you will change jobs. You'll quit that job and go to another job, and you will find someone else there. May not be your boss this time, maybe a supervisor this time, a little bit lower down. That will have the same pattern, because there is still something there that you are believing. Maybe that you are less than, maybe that you aren't good enough, maybe that you aren't worthy. Belittling really comes from when someone belittles another, they do make you feel less than. So there is a belief somewhere there that you feel less than. And that will keep showing up for you until it's run its course. Your soul's had enough of that experience and you've realized, hang on a minute, I'm not less than anyone. We're all the same, we're all spirit. There's no one more worthy or less worthy of God's love. It is all love. All of it. My beautiful beings. So, be mindful of what is showing up in your life. If you want to change it, look at your thoughts that are creating it. What are you thinking about all the time? All the time. 70 to 80% of the time. Are you focusing on the things that you love, on the things that you want? Are you focusing on the things that you don't want? Because the universe doesn't hear the don't part of it. If you are focusing on lack, then the universe is providing lack. The universe is abundant in that way. Whatever you ask for, it will give you buckets of it. It will never run out of those things to give you, because this is what you are focusing on. And your wish is the universe's command. You don't like what's in front of you now? Change your thoughts. That's what this beautiful channel is about. Not being the victim anymore. You don't need lessons in being the victim. You know how to do that. I did that for a really long time, most of my adult life. I'm trying to think now, more than 30 years, I think. Easily. More than 30 years. We know how to be the victim. How to stay in separation. That's the easy part. Although, reconnecting is not hard. It's just letting go of all the stuff that's not true. All the layers that are covering up that beautiful diamond. All the layers that we took on of not being worthy, of not being good enough, of not deserving. None of those are true. But you need to experience it to know it fully. It's not something you can convince yourself with words. It is something you need to experience it to understand. Oh, how worthy I am. Oh, that I am enough. How valuable I am. You can only know these things through experience. That is what we are doing here, my beautiful beings. on this gorgeous planet. We love you guys. Remember to click like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the messages. You are the diamond. You always have been, and you always will be the most valuable, the most precious. Bye for now.